When I was growing up, my dad, who immigrated to this country from Pakistan with great pride, used to make me watch the evening news. And he would comment occasionally and say, "Faiz, power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely." Doesn't that feel like the moment we're in right now? We are living in a social experiment, sadly, of what happens when a society has massive wealth and income inequality. What happens to that society? Well, I'll tell you. You develop a ruling class that feels as if it has some noble soul and infinite wisdom that far exceeds the capacities of us regular people. They feel as if free speech and media are best when they glorify them. Dissent is to be mocked and punished. Special favor and privilege is to be given to a ruling class. Government is supposed to work at their whims, not for the greatest good, for the greatest number. What I worry about, my friends, is that right now we are seeing, because of the greed of a ruling class, a decaying of the American way of life. The selfishness, the exploitation are what we are trying to fight against. In my view, too often, the deep power imbalance in society is robbing working class people of voice, both in our politics and in our economy, making so many people feel angry, stuck, and oppressed. The Democratic brand, in my view, is hurting because when we are living amidst the corrupting influence of the selfish greed that is imposed upon us, there is a palpable desperation and hunger from a working class people who says, "Do you see us? Do you know that we exist? Will you do something bold to address it?" My friends, quite frankly, we in the Democratic Party are held to a much higher standard than our Republicans. Due to our long and proud lineage of fighting for working class people, we are the party associated with being there for the common person. And that reputation right now is in need of great rehabilitation. But the way back for us is clear. A democratic, grassroots-oriented DNC that opens its doors and brings people together. We have to reject identity politics that dissipates our power and pits us against one another unnecessarily. We must make membership within the Democratic Party mean more than an online contribution. We don't need to create an exclusive club. We need to open our doors and create an ever-expanding people-powered movement. In my view, we can have a glorious rise when we are able to demonstrably show that the Democratic Party operates in service of others beyond ourselves. I jumped into this race late because I felt that while we're now talking about building a working class party, we are not sufficiently matching that rhetoric with the ambitious ideas that would grab people's heads and get their attention. I would humbly suggest that of the DNC chair candidates, I am your best choice for the following reason. If this body chooses to send a message that the Democratic Party is boldly transforming its ways and rejecting status quo-ism, then selecting me would do that. I believe we could send a message to huge numbers of people that we are prepared to make big changes for the better. Why? Because together we would make big changes for the better. When we say a democratic grassroots DNC in service of others beyond ourselves, what do we mean? I imagine us organizing with striking workers, helping unions grow their movement, involving us in the fight against corporate monopolists who rig this economy to crush entrepreneurial spirit and economic liberty. I imagine a grassroots DNC that is engaging people beyond politics in the arenas of entertainment, sports, culture, building civic organization for the left. I imagine a grassroots DNC that, in order to become a strong media outlet, builds up its own social media channels using video journalism, featuring the voices of workers in both red and blue states. We will reach tens of millions of people directly so that we don't have to rely on a broken media infrastructure to get our message out. We need a grassroots DNC that is grassroots funded. I've made this kind of change happen before, and I'll do it again. This is what we did on the Bernie Sanders presidential campaign. This is what we did when I ran the ACLU during the first Trump years. And this is what I'm doing now in building a media organization called More Perfect Union. The opportunity is there for the DNC if you choose it. When we boost our grassroots donation programs, the state parties are going to see both more funding and more engagement that will help us win more elections. I want to add that I strongly believe in being a good steward of money. While at the ACLU in the Bernie campaign, we raised hundreds of millions of dollars. I jumped into this race and I did not start a PAC. I could not in good conscience take money from working class people to throw trinkets and happy hours. I don't want to get corrupted by the influence of money before I walk in the door. I don't want it setting strategy for us. We're going to raise tons of grassroots money when I'm chair, I promise you that. If we are clear-eyed, strategic, and operate with integrity, we are going to come out of this Trump era much stronger. I do not believe the majority of people in this country want to witness a president who puts their government up for sale, who cedes power to unelected billionaires to be co-presidents, who thinks that the oath to uphold the Constitution is merely optional. They don't want to live there. When he attacks Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, the nation looks to us. Why? Because we are the party that created those damn programs. With pride, we have improved them. They need us in those moments. We must hold righteous anger at large multinational corporations like McDonald's, Walmart, Uber, who make their workers toil for long hours and refuse them health care and retirement benefits. They refuse our fights when we try to raise the minimum wage to a living wage. They fight us when we try to give workers paid leave and child care benefits. And then they turn around, these mega corporations, and go to the Republican Party and ask them to reduce the corporate tax rate. We know there's declining trust in institutions, but we can build it back, my friends. These super PACs and lobbying firms, they've become play toys and sandboxes for people with great wealth. We must build the institutions with conviction and clarity in this moment to say, we will build power for working people. We will be the people's champion to create a more perfect union in this country. You all have a big choice to make right now, and I know you will take it seriously. Over the past few days, I've heard many of you come up to me and say, I love what you're saying, Faiz. I love everything you're arguing for. It's too bad you were a little bit too late. I would argue to you, I was just in time. Just in time. 0 votes have been cast. Time left up on the scoreboard. You are independent agents right now. Promises and pledges of the past are gone. Power is right there in front of you to vote. It's your choice to make. I would welcome your vote. Together, we will transform the Democratic Party again into the working class party of America. Thank you all.